Welcome back to Young Tripp Reactions. The first video we're going to do is Inmate Suffers Medical Crisis While Incarcerated and Was Neglected and Awarded $307 million after suffering medical crisis while incarcerated while being neglected. Let's get into it.
Former inmate awarded $307 million because of extreme medical negligence. Put it up full mass. We talk about this often on Indisputable. If you are incarcerated, you still have rights. One is the right to health care. Statutorily, they have to take care of your health requirements. A federal jury has awarded Kohchise Jackson, a former Michigan inmate, $307 million after it found a state prison, which is a health contractor, and a doctor violated his civil rights by refusing to pay for surgery to reverse a colostomy procedure. Now, this is common. This isn't something that happens just to Mr. Jackson or happened just to Mr. Jackson. Understand, this is almost a routine in the penal system where you have to fight for the most, let's just say, costly surgeries when you absolutely require them. Forcing him to...
You should never have to fight to get surgery even while being incarcerated. One of the things that I've discovered, as you know, as a person who does prison stories and as a person who always wanted to be a homicide detective, you do not have to fight to receive medical treatment. The other thing that I was actually getting ready to say is a person that is in prison, if they get a tattoo while in prison, which is something that they're not supposed to do, they will give them a charge and tell them that they destructed state property, that they're destroying state property because of them being awarded to the state. But you will not make sure that the property gets the treatment that it gets. But if they get a tattoo, you will say they destructed state property. Make that make sense. Let's continue.
I lived behind bars for 2 years with a leaking bag, and obviously these bags have a stench to them, and it's unsanitary. You get the picture, all right? He developed a hole in his colon 2016. He developed that hole while he was in St. Clair County Jail in Port Huron, awaiting trial on charges that included assault with a dangerous weapon. He complained about serious or severe pain. He complained about fever. He was vomiting. That he was, quote, farting out my penis, end quote. And that this is graphic, but it is what he went through. And that feces was coming out in his urine.
That is terrible. His defecation was coming out of his urine, y'all. This really pisses me off. This really ticks me off as a person, like I said, who always wanted to do jobs like this. And to see these types of things taking place. I'm going to hold you uncivilized mutt cops accountable every time. I'm going to be here every time. As a person who always wanted to do this job and could not do it, I'm going to hold y'all accountable every time. This man was suffering a severe medical crisis. And the warden The guards, everybody there just didn't care. Let's continue. Insane.
He was initially misdiagnosed and treated with antibiotics for a urinary tract infection. The complaint read, after multiple months of worsening symptoms, Jackson was taken to a hospital outside of the prison, where an ER doctor correctly diagnosed he had fistula, a hole in the tissue separating the large intestine from the bladder. Now, the irony is he was already diagnosed. And the question becomes, the first diagnosis, which said you have a urinary tract infection, which is much more common, and treated with non-surgical methods, antibiotics. Was that misdiagnosis done intentionally?
Because you have to really consider that. Was it done intentionally to try to save tax dollars or save money to not get this man taken care of by saying, oh, well, it's just a urinary tract infection, here goes some medication, and leave it alone? Even though that you really know that he needed surgery. Let's continue.
Order to save money by the contractor or the county. There's more. December 2016. December 2016, that doctor performed an emergency surgery that cut and diverted his large intestine out through the skin. That formed a temporary stoma that was connected to the bag that was leaking. The infected area of his large intestine below that point was cut out, and the rest was left to heal until a second operation could be performed to reconnect two sections of the colon and close of the stoma. The reversal operation was scheduled for the month of February 2017. The lawsuit said, but it did not happen while he was in jail because his condition was not deemed emergent or life-threatening. March 2017. Jackson was then transferred to Michigan Department of Corrections. He's in custody, where Horizon Health, that's your contractor, was responsible for prison inmate health care. Following month, a prison medical provider sent a request for a surgical consult for Jackson. Dr. Keith Papendick, then the director of utilization management for the contractor, denied the request because he determined it was, quote, not medically necessary. The doctor also later testified he was required to follow an MDOC. This is Michigan Department of Corrections.
Why would you are the doctor? Why would you need to follow a correctional facility and what they say when you're the doctor and what you really say is what really matters? You would rather risk your license as a doctor to follow a correctional facility's policy when you know their policy is wrong anyway. Make it make sense. Let's continue.
Policy directive that categorized this particular surgery as reconstructive and cosmetic.
What is reconstructing? This man has a colostomy bag. This is not like his face was broke, even though then you still would need to get surgery. But it's not like his nose. Let's just make it more simplified. It's not like his nose was broke and it would be best if the doctor said it would be best if he gets surgery, and then you as the facility says, well, will it still heal properly and good enough if we put his nose in a nose cast? And the doctor says, yeah, he should be fine. or that will work. That's not this type of situation. It wasn't like he was in a fight, somebody broke his nose, and the doctor says, surgery would be great because his nose may go exactly right back to the way it was looking. Versus if we just put him in a cast, maybe his nose may be a little bit off after it heals. That's not what the doctor here is saying. He really needs what he needs. And because the facility says to the doctor, nah, I think we're good. He's risking his license, even though he knows that this inmate is not good. Let's continue.
Ever sue the driver who crashed into you after a car accident? There's a better way to get compensated that's faster, easy. Let's back up. The doctor, under oath, says, yeah, I made the call, and the call I made was based on the policy directive from the government. And the policy directive said that this particular type of surgery, the reversal, is actually a cosmetic surgery. But you're the medical doctor. You make the call based on your oath and your license, not based on some directive policy that's adverse to your oath and adverse to the policy that you subscribe to. He's telling you what it really is by saying clearly he followed the directive of the government. Feckless leadership. While Jackson continued reaching out to medical staff and lawyers demanding to get all of this reversed, over the next 2 years, he suffered pain, he suffered humiliation, incontinence. And
of course he suffered pain, humiliation, everything. I mean, he has a colostomy bag, his stuff is going everywhere, he's defecating on himself, defecation's coming out of urine, everything. Feces just everywhere. Reusing the same bags, which is very dangerous. Let's continue.
Complaint alleged the health contractor, Kohchise, frequently failed to provide him with sufficient supply of the leaking bags, the patches, or supplies that fit with each other or were the correct size for the stoma. This also creates a hygienic issue. This causes watery excrement and digestive juices to leak out of the stoma and into his body, into the bedding.
Into his body, into his bedding, everywhere. They saw this mess. These uncivilized mutt cops have to be stopped. These prisons, these wardens, everybody, the majors, everybody. And I'm going to be right here to keep holding you uncivilized mutt cops accountable. I cannot believe the mess that I'm hearing right now. Let's continue.
To his clothes. Sometimes he had to clean and reuse the bags. Can you imagine that? He had to clean these leaky bags himself. Obviously, he's not a trained medical professional. There's no way that there's no way he can sanitize this stuff. He's a human being failed by every layer of medical intervention that on paper he has a right to receive. So he's cleaning the bag, doesn't have the proper supplies. Because a stoma does not contain a sphincter, Jackson had no ability to control the timing of his bowel movements.
He could not control his bowel movements. Zoom tell y'all. Let's continue.
In order to avoid defecating on himself.
So many people dream of a smile that's not only functional, but also beautiful. A
One
smile
moment,
that
y'all.
allows you to feel confident in any situation. And
The foul smell and leaks led to estrangement and ridicule from other inmates. He testified. The lawsuit,
which of course, other inmates would probably be trying to fight him. Don't want him around. All that. Because I've heard of stories already as a person who does prison reaction content, heard of stuff like this. This is crazy, yo. Let's continue.
alleged that since Horizon, the healthcare contractor, is a for-profit corporation that was paid the same amount per month for each prisoner, regardless of the health care it provided. It had a, quote, strong...
And what a trip. Regardless of what you provided, what type of help you provided these inmates, you were provided the same amount of money regardless. What a trip. Let's continue.
financial incentive to do what? To deny medical care to Michigan prisoners whenever possible. Okay, here we go. So we can obviously moralize against the healthcare facility or the healthcare contractor that provided this ridiculous and unbelievable negligent healthcare. The system is developed in order to do exactly what they did. In my opinion, you have a conspiracy. You don't think the people at the Department of Corrections, when they award these contracts, are aware that the contract budget itself creates a strong financial incentive for the contractor not to actually help an incarcerated individual survive? Of course they know it. Because if it was about health care, you wouldn't have such a ridiculous policy to say, we're going to give you this lump sum of money. Now, you get the...
Right, to get the lump sum of money, and like Rashad is getting ready to say, and then regardless of how much care you give or what you do or how you do it, you still get to keep the money. If a person doesn't even show up to work and do their job, even if they're paid a certain amount of salary per, month or whatever, or even if a person who's paid by the hour or anything like that, if you don't show up to work, or you show up to work and limit how much of the work you do, the company's not going to keep you around or are not going to pay you. These people were paid, and regardless of what they did, they were going to keep the money. Again, what a trip. Let's continue.
Whatever you don't have to use in order to take care of these folks we call inmates. There's more. After Jackson was released from prison, June 2019, he enrolled in Michigan's Medicaid program, and he underwent a successful reversal operation surgery.
Thank goodness. Let's do the 3 claps, y'all. I did a third one again because the other one didn't. The first one didn't come out as good as the other one, so I did it a total of 4 times. But thank goodness. Let's continue.
He now is self-employed. He does landscape and construction work. That same year, he filed a lawsuit against CHS Inc., formerly known as Horizon Health, with that same doctor. After deliberating for 2 hours on April 2nd, the jury returned a verdict that found Jackson did, in fact, prove by a preponderance of evidence that Dr. Papendick was deliberately indifferent to Jackson's serious medical needs, that the healthcare provider or contractor was in fact liable to Jackson under a theory of municipal liability, which is the local law, and that Jackson was entitled to punitive damages as well. That means punishment damages, to punish the company that did this to him. They awarded Jackson.
Thank God that he could also got punishment damages. That's what I'm talking about. Let's continue.
$7.5 million in compensatory damages. That's just compensation based on exacting calculation. And they awarded $300 million based on punitive, meaning we're going to fine the company $300 million to punish them because what they did was so damn egregious against you. And $100,000 in punitive or punishment damages against the doctor himself.
Do you have a child on Instagram, TikTok,
y'all.
YouTube, or Snapchat who spends hours a day scrolling? This is
a damn shame. Now, it happens to be a microcosm of a macrocosm because the root issue of why this happened still isn't being addressed by policy. Thank God this man survived. And
yeah, because he could have actually been unalived due to this. He could have passed away. This facility should be ashamed of themselves. Again, warning to anybody out here, the facilities, the prisons, the jails, the cops out here on the streets, I will always be right here to hold you uncivilized mutt facilities officers accountable. Young Tripp will always be right here. As I just said when I did the video on, you already know who. I don't even want to speak about her right now. But I'm going to be right here every time to hold you uncivilized mutt cops accountable in facilities, wardens, everybody. Majors, COs, I don't care what you is. You gon' answer if something is so outrageous that we have to make a reaction video to it. That it's so outrageous that it was on the news and people had to see it and hear about it. Let's continue.
thankfully, we have an opportunity to review the full record. But the cause and effect is bad policy from the beginning. Who in the hell would incentivize a health contractor monetarily to not help you, to not provide effective health care for you? Well, Michigan and other states would do that. All right, Shaw, thoughts here.
Shout out to my home state for doing the right thing, at least with awarding the money. They were completely wrong. First of all, colostomy reversal surgery is on the very low end, $16,000. On the high end, $30,000. So y'all...
Did you hear what she just said? The minimum amount for colostomy bag surgery is $16,000. The highest amount is $30,000. Let's let her continue to tell you even more information.
Not wanting to pay that ended up costing you 10,000 times that.
Did you just hear that? 10,000 times the amount that they would have had to pay if they did the right thing versus what they had to pay in the end. Let's continue.
Original amount. Deeper than that. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Farting out of penis,
right.
and literally feces coming out of your urine, that is literally nasty work. That's literally nasty work. And then
absolutely. He should have even got even more. This is just crazy. Again, I'm going to hold you uncivilized mutt cops accountable every time something big like this comes out, every time. It's just best to just stop and do the right thing. Let's continue.
And after, on top of that, he was misdiagnosed. And then upon further research, I found that somehow a sex reassignment surgery is on the list to be approved, but you think that having a bowel movement through your anus the regular way that you are supposed to as a human is somehow cosmetic surgery? I can assure you ain't nothing
Right.
ain't nothing cosmetic about that.
There's absolutely nothing cosmetic about somebody trying to have a bowel movement the right way versus it coming out the other way. I'm sure that was painful for that man and everything. That major, that warden, that whole entire facility should be ashamed of themselves. Let's continue.
And I'm happy that he was awarded. More importantly, I pray that all of these medical companies who are abusing the system, abusing taxpayers' money, and taking advantage of people's lives to fatten the CEOs and the owners' pockets, I hope y'all take notice.
That's right.
Y'all just spent 10,000 times what you would have spent because y'all was being cheap and trying to incentivize your pockets over the importance of someone's life.
That's right. And being antithetical to the very oath you took as medical professionals in order to do it, knowing good and damn well that directive made no sense in law, made no sense in morality. All right, we'll bring you updates as they come.
Rewriting your resume till the cows come home? Introducing Indeed Career Scout. Get your resume tailored instantly.
Yes, this is a big box of B6. If you're wondering why I needed so many, Paleo Valley's running this crazy deal right now. You get 30 B6 for 30.
I'm going to keep holding you uncivilized mutt cops accountable. So I suggest that any cops anywhere just stop doing it. Do the right thing and do what you're supposed to do. This was crazy. This man was not going to the bathroom in the proper way. He had colostomy bags that he was reusing instead of getting new ones. He did not get his surgery reversed like he was supposed to. He was in severe pain. Other inmates, I'm sure, was trying to fight him, keep him away, beating him up, treating him a mess, treating him like garbage. Obviously, the staff was. This is crazy, crazy work. But I'm going to be right here to hold you uncivilized mutts accountable. So I suggest every prison, every warden, every major around the whole entire United States or around the world better be listening. Because young Tripp gonna be coming for y'all necks. My foot gonna be on y'all necks, you hear me? So the best thing you can do is to do the right thing so then you don't be connected to this list. Had this man defecating on himself, urinating on himself, not getting colostomy bags, new ones, treating him worse than an animal, worse than human. You uncivilized mutts or something else. Let me know what y'all think about this. This is crazy. This is terrible. I'll have the link pinned at the top of the chat as always, going back to Rashad Ritchie, and in the link in the description. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification. This is just, oh my God. Oh man. Peace.